And we are live on a Friday, July 28th, 2023. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. If you missed our session last night, we ran up a live session, old school, about an hour and 20 minutes of me ranting. If you guys are desperate for any more content, you guys can go check out that one. Also dropped an important video yesterday, the SEC coming after crypto. Important to understand that situation that's at hand. While we prepare for the news that we're going to cover here, the major crypto bills that have just passed committee will be on their way to House, then the Senate, then all the way up to Mr. Joe Biden to get signed. But we did get major bills in the cryptocurrency legislation passed in the committees. We're going to break it down for you guys. The market's reacting well this morning. We saw Bitcoin did pump up to about 29,500. At the time of this recording, almost 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 29,400 for Bitcoin, 1879 for Ethereum, and 71 cent XRP. You can see here on the sticks, Bitcoin back on up to that 29.5 level here on the 4-hour chart Qcoin. And that is where we are trading at right now for Bitcoin. Now let's break this down. They're getting the masses primed, they're getting it pumped, and we are getting, finally, crypto legislation. So we're going to break this one down with Ron Hammond. Huge shout out to Ron Hammond. He's the Director of Government Relations at the Blockchain Association. And, you know, the Blockchain Association has mostly dismissed Ripple XRP, but now that we have the victory, now that we have the clarity, everybody's trying to get behind XRP and Ripple. But that's kind of a side note. Huge shout out to the work that they are doing, regardless of that. And Ron Hammond has been keeping us up to date with what's taking place in the DC dance. So we do appreciate that, and we do appreciate this thread. Thank you, Ron. Crypto legislation vote recap. If you didn't spend the 20 plus hours watching the various vote series on crypto legislation, this recap is for you. This entire week was unexpected on a number of fronts. Since it's Friday, I thought that I'd channel my inner Niraj Agrawal. I'm going to butcher that name. But he's going to channel his inner, whoever that guy is, and do some memes. Okay, that's cool. Let's get this breakdown. Bill number 1, the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, also known as the FIT bill. This is the market structure bill. Unprecedented, but this bill passed the Financial Committee by a margin of 35 to 15, with 6 Democrats joining the Republicans in support. In the House Ag Committee, the bill was voted with 0 opposition. So in 2 committees, it did pass. Takeaway from the FIT 21. Gensler is continuing to lose the narrative that all tokens are securities, especially within his own party, as 6 Democrats bucked there's no need for legislation talking point. Age also continues to be an indicator in terms of supporting framework. And so this is what we're seeing is the older folks, the banker, Schiller, Wall Street's buddies, they're in Congress. They don't want to introduce crypto. They're trying to hold this thing up. They continue to reiterate that there's no need for legislation. Just let Gary Gensler come in and kill everything. But the fact of the matter is that they are classifying and defining most of these tokens as commodities and currencies. So that's where Gensler is continuing to lose the narrative, and he's going to continue to lose the narrative going on because the truth is not on his side. Not every token is a security, unlike what Mr. Gensler continues to spout. Bill number 2, clarity for payment stablecoins. Politics, White House got in the way and was expected to be a deal between lead Republican Patrick McHenry and lead Democrat Representative Maxine Waters. Gotta love her. Divulged into a dramatic standoff. Despite some charged moments, stablecoin passed with all Republicans and 5 Democrats. So Maxine Waters holding it up, but we did get that one passed as well. Now the takeaway from the stablecoins. The White House wouldn't have objective at this stage if they thought this bill had no shot to be signed into law. Politics overtook policy. Even with the White House's objection, 5 Democrats joining the Republicans is notable, especially considering many are senior. Next, GOP Majority Whip Tom Emmer, Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act, and Warren Davidson Keep Your Coins Act passed, but on party line vote. These crypto OGs, along with Representative Darren Soto, laid the groundwork for the FIT Act and have moved to other priorities like self-custody. And I do like this meme right here. And this is a good meme. Self-custody, Congress trying to shut it down, but it looks like it did get introduced back again. Reminder, this was just at the committee level. The next step is getting these bills to the House floor for a vote, which should be in the fall. Overall, Representative Ritchie said it best, regulation by enforcement not only had a bad day in courts, it had a bad day in Congress. Now, that is the sad part of this whole story, is that they are not going to be bringing this to the House for a floor vote till the fall. That is right. Remember, August is when our Congress goes home to do state work. They go on summer break. They get to have a good time, come home and barbecue with their constituents. And that is what is so unfortunate about this news, and why I think that folks might be getting ahead of themselves here with these legislation and these bills getting passed. The market started to pump this morning, and many folks are getting excited. Crypto bill legislation's finally here. They passed this at the committee level right before they take off for a month-long vacation. It's actually over a month. And so they don't come back until after Labor Day. And so I just want us to understand, I put out the tweet this morning. They passed the bills in the committee. Now they take off on break, and we have to trade amongst ourselves in the markets, get a move over the next month with no Fed meeting until September and Congress gone until September. So we have the rest of the summer here. Maybe we should just sit back and enjoy it like they're doing, taking another break. I was looking at their calendar today, and it's like they don't even work. I mean, I'm sure they're doing other important stuff when they're not in Congress in session, I'm sure. But they're gone most of the year. It's an absolute joke. But the bill that did get passed here, this one, by the House Financial Service Committee, passes a bill protecting the right to self-custody your cryptocurrencies, and that's what we like to see. In general, a head of a federal agency may not prohibit, restrict, or otherwise impair the ability of a covered user to 1. Use convertible virtual currency or its equivalent for such user's own purposes, such as to purchase real or virtual goods and services for the user's own use, or 2. Self-custody digital assets using a self-hosted wallet or other means to conduct transactions for any lawful purpose. So that is good. That is fantastic. But then you got to look at what they just slipped into the most recent NDAA bill, the National Defense Authorization Act. And if you recall, for those of you who have been tapped in, they've been slipping all sorts of little deals into that NDAA ever since the 9/11 terrorist attacks, and I think the original NDAA got signed in 2004 or something like that. Maybe it was right. It was after 9/11. When we got the Patriot Act, and then we get the NDAA, and the government's just protecting us and making sure that we're safe, right? But when you look at what they just threw into this thing, a little stablecoin provision was just added to the NDAA bill. If this passes, USDC, USDT, and TUSD are all in trouble on Coin, Kraken, etc., as Circle, Tether, and TrueUSD have no idea who most of their customers are. Non-KYC AML stablecoins are going away. You were warned. So if you look into this, what's being slipped in here, sanctions compliance responsibility of payment stablecoin issuers. Not later than 120 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the Secretary of the Treasury shall adopt guidance clarifying the sanctions compliance responsibilities and liability of an issuer of a payment stablecoin with respect to downstream transactions relating to the stablecoin that take place after the stablecoin is first provided to a customer of the issuer. So you're going to have to keep track of who is trading this coin downstream. And I put out a tweet, and I retweeted this one from Parrot Capital, and I said, I'm sure that Tether will have no problem coming into compliance and being able to deal with this. I'm sure they'll have no issue, right? Now, as far as, these exchanges and these, issuers like USDC, they've been trying to do things on the up and up. And, I actually think that USDC, although this could be a burden on them, most of what USDC and Circle has been doing seems to be pretty legit to me. Now, I haven't seen behind the business what's taking place here, but most of it seems like they're trying to be on the up and up, similar to Ripple. They're trying to work with regulators. They're trying to do the right thing. And working with these exchanges, most of these exchanges are doing KYC and AML. Now, there's, folks outside the United States that have gotten their hands on USDC and Tether. And so that could be an issue for these stablecoin issuers. But, this is something that is finally, coming for us all to see, which is the main question, the $1 trillion question is, will Tether be able to survive stablecoin regulation? So whether it's included in the NDAA, we have the Stablecoins Act, will Tether, and I don't worry so much about the others, but let me say this. I don't worry so much about Circle in USDC. When it comes to TUSD, Tron's little USD, or what, True USD, right? Another Binance stablecoin, I should say. No, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for these guys. They've been using these stablecoins. They've been using these exchange tokens to keep their own exchanges liquid, to prop up their own coins. It's an absolute joke, and it needs to be reined in. But the $1 trillion problem in the space is Tether. When you look, and you can even look at XRP's trading volume and with the currency pairs, Tether is the most traded pair with XRP by far, by a long shot. And so even if Tether implodes, it could impact XRP and others, right? It's going to impact the whole space. And this has been a conspiracy theory in the crypto space for years. Oh, Tether's never going to pop. You guys are crazy. Well, that's what they said about all the other conspiracy theories that we were talking about for the last decade that have all played out. So, this Tether deal, it's not that I want to see Tether fail. It's not that I want to see Bitfinex collapse because I think they're a bad company. We just need to know what they're backing these stablecoins by. And when it comes to compliance like this, at the very bare minimum, it's going to be a burden for these projects. 100%. So we're going to have to watch that one closely. I wanted to finish up 2 points here on what's taken place here. We got the PCE data this morning. Core PCE falling from 4.6% last month down to 4.1%. And so that's a big victory for the Fed in their fight against inflation, right? But we have to remember that it's that core PCE that they're trying to get down to 2%, right? So I believe that they will be tightening up one more interest rate hike this year. The Fed Chair Jerome Powell did say that they may start to pivot before we get back to that 2% target, which was a big statement. But I don't think that they're planning on doing that this year. I think that they really are trying to push this thing out till next year. They're trying to push it out as long as they can, right? They had to fight inflation. They had to bring this in. But coming into that election cycle next year, I think that this is going to be when the Fed pivot comes in. They're going to try to paper over all of the hurt in the economy, inflation coming back. They're going to try to paper it over. They're going to try to buy more voters with stimulus packages and student loan forgiveness, right? But a couple points here. Let's play this clip here from Judy Shelton, who was formerly, what was she? She was the head of the Treasury.
What I wouldn't want is for the less...
I forget where Judy Shelton was at. But nonetheless, Mr. Intuitive shares this one. He says, listen when Judy Shelton speaks, fam. Absolutely. She breaks this down in such a simple way. So take a listen in on this one, folks.
What I wouldn't want is for the lesson from all of this to be that somehow government stimulus, whether monetary or fiscal, somehow is a good thing. I think there are very debilitating economic consequences, one of which is that the Fed is now paying 5.4% to banks to keep the money sitting dormant at the Fed, doing nothing. I think the overall effect of all the government stimulus, even as we try to normalize, which would be the best thing, is we are slowly shifting power away from the private sector toward the government. A lot of that GDP growth was hiring government workers and engaging in government finance projects. That means through deficit financing. That works its way into both employment and GDP numbers. But is that helpful?
It's not a real economy. As we've been saying, just about a third of all of the jobs that were just posted were government jobs, right? So we've been highlighting this fact too. Judy Shelton breaking it down.
I still believe that the ideal system is to let individuals in the private sector pursue life, liberty, and happiness under conditions of a stable dollar and accurate price signals. So I don't want any of this to empower the Fed or the Fed to get too self-satisfied when it may turn out their model is not the right one for a capitalist economy.
And the people that really understand it get it, that the Fed still has a hell of a fight here against inflation. I show you guys this article here from CNN Business. The Fed's favorite inflation measure cooled down even further in June. Oh, yay. Let's cheer. Let's clap along for Fed Chair Jerome Powell winning the fight against inflation. But you got to look at this closer. The inflation gauge tracked most closely by the Federal Reserve showed that the pace of price increases slowed last month. So prices are still increasing. It's just that we've slowed the pace. According to the Commerce Department data released Friday, the personal consumption expenditures price index rose 3% for the 12 months ended in June, a cool down from the 3.8% rate posted in May. When stripping out energy and food prices, the core PC index showcased price increased 4.1% in June from the year before. Economists were expecting the core index to increase 4.2% on an annual basis in May. The core PCE rose 4.6% annually. So we beat expectations on a monthly basis. The headline and core index both rose 0.2%. The report also showed that consumer spending picked up for the month by 0.5% in May. Spending ticked up by a revised 0.2%. When adjusted for inflation, spending increased by 0.4%. Now, you got to ask, are Americans getting more products, services for that spending, or is everything just costing more? Right? When you actually understand this data and how they're rigging these statistics and the meaning and the way that the spin factor that they're putting on this, right? This is not good for Americans. This is not good for our economy. The spending going up is not more GDP growth. It's just the cost of goods is going up, right? The PCE indexes are part of the Personal Income and Outlays report, which provides a more comprehensive look at the shift in price. You love how they word this. A more comprehensive look at the shifts in prices, including how consumers respond to them and how much consumers are spending, bringing in, and saving. The Fed uses the core PCE index as the benchmark for its 2% inflation target. Earlier this week, the U.S. Central Bank raised rates by a quarter point, taking them to the highest level in 22 years. So the core PC index is the benchmark that we're trying to get to 2%, but the core PCE index is the one that strips out both energy and food prices. How in the hell is that supposed to tell us how the inflation is actually going? If we strip out two of the most essential things that everybody needs to have, right? Food and energy. And when you look at it, it was at 4.6% last month. Now we're down to 4.1%. We're cheering we beat expectations. The target's 2. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell, many people are looking over the fact that he said that they may start to cut interest rates before we get to that 2% target. So they are a long ways from their target of 2%. The CPI data that just read at 3.1%, that is not the preferred inflation gauge. That is not the one that they're trying to get down to 2%. They've already got that one down to 3%, even though that's the CPI lie, still a manipulated data point. Topped out at 9% inflation. Now we're back down to 3%. We're winning the fight. No, because when you look at the core PCE, which excludes, which helps the Fed even more, right, to paint this picture that the economy's not so bad. And you literally had Biden's White House press secretary saying that he's done the most for the jobs in the economy than any other president in history. That's the type of nonsense that they're saying. These guys don't even know where they're at, and the press secretaries that they put out here to talk to the American people, we should be ashamed and offended by the way that they speak to us, telling us and acting like they've done the most for the U.S. economy in history. What are we talking about? And so, folks, I want you to understand when we go back and we listen to that clip from Judy Shelton, the people that understand sound money and understand real business and how the economy works get it. But for the masses, for the headline readers, and for the FinTwit, the Twitter stock bros, all they think about and all they care about is their stocks going back up. And so you got the algorithms and the bots, and the Twitter bros might as well be bots too, because they don't care that Main Street businesses continue to get sacrificed as long as that stock market goes back up. They don't care if inflation comes back. They want Daddy Powell to take it easy on them. Let up, Jerome, please. Please, we're begging. Ease up. Ease up on us, please. And they're begging him to start to cut rates sooner because they want to see us return back up into this phony market, this bull run that we've been experiencing. And we're in the middle of a bull trap rally, in my opinion. I don't think that this is cleaned out. Like I said, for the month of August, watch this market to move back down because there's just, people are on summer vacation. You don't have a lot of buyers and you have a lot of bad news still coming out. So that's a recipe for going back down. I would love to say that we're beginning the bull run. I know that that narrative is being pushed. I know that there's plenty of clickbait. I know that there's plenty of narratives. And that's what I'm here to do, is to cut through the confusion and the nonsense and the BS. Major crypto bills passed. I put that as the title. I'm sorry if that's clickbait. Major crypto bills passed, but then I explained the but part, which is, guys, don't get too excited. They're gone until next month, until September. Okay? And the trillion-dollar question remains, will they be able to pass these legislations, particularly stablecoin legislation, without blowing up Tether? And if they blow up Tether, all hell is going to break loose in this crypto space. Not here to sell fear, just have legitimate concerns about how Tether is being backed, how it has been printed, and how that treasury has been managed. But with that being said, we sit in the real assets. We got our gold, we got our silver, we got XRP, we got Clarity, and we're chilling. And on an every single day basis, we are running our businesses and taking action to protect our families and build more wealth. If you appreciate what we're doing here, please, on the way out, smash that thumbs up for me. Make sure we're subscribed, and you can get everything else at my website, zachrector.com. I appreciate all of you guys. We got more content coming your way. Let's have a blessed weekend. God bless all of you.